Welcome to the 2016 season of High School Academic Derby, brought to you by the Onslow County Schools. Our first match of this year is between Swansboro and White Oak. We'll meet the teams and their coaches now. The Swansboro coach is Amy Sauls, and her players for this round will be
Sunny Collins, Senior.
Katie Collins, Senior.
Caitlin Segafos, Junior.
Christina Stair, Junior.
White Oak is coached by Ashley Baker. Her players for this round are
John Lutzis, freshman.
Ryan McElhenney, junior.
RJ Walsh, junior.
Anna Driscoll, Junior.
Players. Your first toss-up of the match deals with literature. His shorter works include a fictional biography of the criminal John Shepherd and the fictional autobiography of Captain Shingleton, the pirate. Name this British author who also created the title characters Dickory Cronky, Moll Flanders, and Robinson Crusoe. Christina.
Louis Stevenson.
Incorrect. Would you like to try it, White Oak? The answer is Daniel Defoe. Your next toss-up is from social studies. This river starts in Wyoming, flows through southern Idaho, and ends at the Columbia River near Pasco, Washington. Name this river that slithers through Hell's Canyon and forms part of the border between Idaho and Oregon. And the answer is the Snake River. Science. Its A variety is bright green, while its B variety is yellow-green because the terminal carbonyl group on its porphyrin ring makes it absorb a slightly different wavelength. Katie.
What is chlorophyll?
Chlorophyll is correct. And for your bonus, we're going to have 4 questions that deal with chemistry. Number 1. Okay, listen to the common factors here. A chemical bath of sodium chloride in water has 2 metal electrodes put into it. Then a voltage is put across the 2 electrodes. Give the common term for each of the following 4 things. Number 1, the electrode, the name of the electrode that will contain excess electrons. And number 2, the positive electrode. And number 3, the process of adding electrons to an ion. And number 4, the process of removing electrons from an ion. Katie.
For number 1, we have protons. For number 2, we have protons. And for number 4, we have extraction.
None of those are correct. White Oak, do you have any answers?
For number 1, we have isotope, and for number 3, we have electronic configuration.
The answer to number 1 is cathode. Number 2 is anode. Number 3, reduction. Number 4, oxidation. So no points there. Math toss-up. I'll read it twice for you. A 2x2 matrix has a top row of 7 and 11 and a bottom row of -4 and an unknown number x. If the determinant of the matrix is 58, find the value of x. A 2x2 matrix has a top row of 7 and 11 and a bottom row of -4 and an unknown number x. If the determinant of the matrix is 58, find the value of x. And the answer is 2. This toss-up deals with sports. It is the only major league ballpark where a ladder is considered in play. Though you can no longer see the remains of Duffy's Cliff there, you can still see the Morse code on its scoreboard that makes the initials of its former owner, Tom Yawkey. Identify this famed baseball stadium that is home to the Green Monster and is named for the part of Boston. Caitlin?
Fenway Park.
Fenway Park is correct. For your bonus, I'm going to ask you questions about Oscar awards. For the 2010 Oscars, 10 films were nominated for Best Picture, just like in the year 1939. Name these nominees from 1939 based on the following descriptions. Number 1, Margaret Mitchell's epic Civil War romance. Number 2, Robert Donat won the Oscar for his memorable portrayal of a beloved English schoolmaster. Number 3, Garbo Laughs was the ad line for this Ernest Lubitsch comedy. And number 4, Betty Davis teamed up with Humphrey Bogart and Ronald Reagan for this romantic tearjerker. Katie.
For number 1, we have Gone with the Wind, and for number 2, we have My Fair Lady.
Number 1 is correct for 2 points. White Oak, 2, 3, or 4?
We have nothing.
The answer to number 2 is Goodbye, Mr. Chips. For number 3, Ninotchka. Number 4, Dark Victory. Your next toss-up deals with music. What is the official title of the song that contains the words, Our Father's God to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing? Katie.
My Country 'Tis of Thee?
Incorrect. White Oak. We needed the official title, which is America. The unofficial title is My Country 'Tis of Thee. Your next toss-up deals with words. As an adjective, it means uninviting in aspect, scary, or forbidding. Give this word that, as a proper noun with a letter M added on the end, is the surname of 2 German brothers noted for their collection of children's... Katie.
Grimm.
Grimm is correct. For your bonus, please give the following literary terms. Number 1, the term for the struggle between 2 opposing forces in a story. Number 2, the term for a huge exaggeration of the truth, as in, I could have just died of embarrassment. Number 3, the adjective for a narrator who knows at every single moment what everyone in the story thinks and why. And number 4, the term for the implied meaning of a word as opposed to denotation, which is the actual meaning of a word. Katie.
For number 1, we have conflict. For number 2, we have hyperbole. For number 3, we have omnipotent. And for number 4, we have connotation.
1, 2, and 4 correct for 6 points. Number 3, White Oak.
For number 3, we have omniscient.
Omniscient, yes, I'll accept that pronunciation. Literature toss-up. It includes a rabid dog named Tim Johnson that is shot dead by its major adult character. Christina.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird is correct. For your bonus, name the British author of each of the following works. Number 1, Nicholas Nickleby. Number 2, Sense and Sensibility. Number 3, Wuthering Heights. Number 4, Animal Farm.
I have Hemingway in one.
Katie.
For number 1, we have Dickens. For number 2, we have Austen. For number 3, we have Hemingway. And for number 4, we have Wilde.
1 and 2 are correct for 4 points. 3 or 4, White Oak?
For number 3, we have Bronte, and number 4, we have Orwell.
I need a specific Bronte for number 3, please.
Emily.
Emily is correct. 3, so you have 3 and 4 correct for 4 points as well. Science. It is 3.12 for bromine and 0.2 for balsa wood, while for acetic acid it is only slightly larger than water's value of exactly 1 and 4 degrees centigrade, at 4 degrees centigrade, excuse me. Like density, it is often symbolized by the Greek letter rho. Give this two-word term defined as the ratio of a substance's density to the density of water. And that's called its specific gravity. And that's the end of our first round. We'll come back with our score in round number 2 right after this.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids.
What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
At the end of round 1, our score is Swansboro 20, White Oak 6. We have one new player for Swansboro, and she is
Jennifer Narvaez, Jr.
Okay, players in this round, we're going to start with a toss-up from social studies. What famed cartographer was both the first to call a map collection an atlas and the first to portray latitude and longitude as straight lines on his flat map? Katie.
Magellan?
Incorrect. White Oak. Mercator. Architecture. Though already 150 feet tall by the time of the Civil War, it remained at that height for some 25 years until the outside was finished with a slightly different color of marble that is still noticeable today. Identify this huge obelisk on America's National Mall. Katie.
The Washington Monument?
That's correct. For your bonus, give the following musical terms. Number 1, the note made by drawing an unfilled-in circle and sticking a stem on the end of it. Number 2, the 4-letter Italian word for little. Number 3, the general term for the loudness or softness of a piece of music. Number 4, term for the first chair or leader of the first violin section. And Katie.
For number 1, we have half note. For number 2, we have poco. And for number 3, we have dynamic.
Those are all correct for 6 points. And number 4, White Oak?
Concertmaster.
Concertmaster is correct for 2 points. Math, again, I'll read it twice for you as it involves a calculation. A circle with center at 4, 4 and radius 3 is rotated 180 degrees. What are the new coordinates of the point that was once the very top of the circle? A circle with center at 4, 4 and radius 3 is rotated 180 degrees. What are the new coordinates of the point that was once the very top of the circle? RJ.
4, 1.
4, 1 is correct. For your bonus, we have some probability questions. Listen to the following conditions, please. A set of 4 mice are ready to run a 10-meter dash for cheese. 1 is brown, 1 is gray, and the rest are white. If all 4 mice are equally fast and ties are not allowed, what is the probability, expressed in lowest terms, please, that, number 1, one of the white mice wins the race? Number 2, that the brown mouse finishes last. Number 3, that the gray mouse wins and the brown mouse finishes second. Number 4, that two white mice finish first and second? RJ?
For number 1, we have 1/2. For number 2, we have 1/4. And for number 4, we have 1/4.
1 and 2 are correct for 4 points. Swansboro? For number 3, the answer is 1/12. And for number 4, 1/6. Television is the topic of our next question. Over its years on air, its recurring characters included Howard Sprague, the town clerk, Floyd Lawson, the town barber, Otis, the town drunk, and Goober, the town mechanic. Name this 1960s TV series, Katie.
The Andy Griffith Show?
That is correct. For your bonus, name these original series that were either made by or rerun by the channel TNT. Number 1, in this series, Will Smith's wife Jada Pinkett Smith starred as the title character, a registered nurse. Number 2, in this series, Kevin Bacon's wife Kyra Sedgwick played the title character, Deputy Police Chief Brenda Johnson. Number 4, this show's group of lawyers was split roughly 50-50 between the Public Defender's Office and the District Attorney's Office. And number 4, TNT's website describes this show as when a body's remains are so badly destroyed that CSI gives up, law enforcement calls in Dr. Temperance Brennan. Katie.
For number 2, we have The Closer. For number 3, we have Law and Order. And for number 4, we have Bones.
2 and 4 are correct for 4 points. White Oak, 1 or 3?
We don't have anything.
Number 1 is called Hawthorne, and number 3, Raising the Bar. Science. It can be caused by stimuli such as gravity, water, temperature, or touch, though it is most commonly noticed in a plant when caused by light. Name this biological phenomenon that causes a plant to grow toward the stimulus, such as light, even though the stimulus may cause the plant to grow horizontally instead of vertically. RJ.
Phototaxi?
Incorrect. You want to try it, Swansboro? It's called tropism. We have another math calculation, so I'll read it twice for you. The sum of the digits of a 2-digit number is 10. Find this 2-digit number if reversing its digits gives a number 36 less than the original number. The sum of the digits of a 2-digit number is 10. Find this 2-digit number if reversing its digits gives a number 36 less than the original number. And the answer is 73. Social studies. It had somewhere between 300 and 900 members at any one time and was finally fixed by Augustus at 600 members, 500 more than the equivalent U.S. group has today. Name this governing body of ancient Rome that outlasted the Roman Empire. Katie.
The Senate?
Senate is correct. For your bonus, answer these questions about U.S. President William McKinley. Number 1, he served 2 terms as governors of this state. Number 2, during the Spanish-American War, he had U.S. troops occupy this island that is now a commonwealth of the U.S. Number 3, he won both of his terms by defeating this Democrat in both 1896 and 1900. And number 4, He was assassinated in 1901 in this U.S. city? Katie.
For number 2, we have Puerto Rico. And for number 3 rather, we have William Jennings Bryan.
Those are both correct for 4 points. 1 or 4, White Oak?
We don't have anything.
For number 1, the state was Ohio. Number 4, he was shot in Buffalo, New York. And that's the end of our second round. We'll come back with a score and our lightning round in just a moment. And after 2 rounds, our score is Swansboro 46, White Oak 14. We'll move into our lightning round now, where we'll have 20 questions or 2 minutes, whichever comes first. All of the answers today begin with the letter A and are followed by a doubled consonant. That's A followed by a doubled consonant. Ready? Suitable or proper in the circumstances, it will do. Katie.
Appropriate?
That's correct. An item added to make something more useful or attractive. Katie.
Alluring?
Incorrect. Likely to attack or confront. Katie.
Assertive.
Incorrect. Gather together or acquire an increasing number of things. To go somewhere with someone as a companion or escort. Katie.
Accompany?
Correct. To take into custody by the authorities. Anna.
Arrest?
That's right. A speech delivered to an audience or a place where you live. A large amphibian similar to a crocodile. RJ.
Alligator.
Correct. New York's nickname. Katie.
Big Apple?
Correct. A shortened form of a word or phrase. Ryan.
Acronym.
Incorrect. To reach a place at the end of a journey. John.
Arrival.
That's correct. Close to the actual, but not exactly the same. Anna.
Approximate?
That's correct. A rod, wire, or other device used to transmit or receive radio. Christina.
Antenna?
Correct. A projecting part of a living organism with a distinctive function. Sonny.
Appendage?
Correct. Multiplication, division, subtraction, and Sonny.
Addition?
Correct. The way someone or something looks. Katie.
Appearance.
Right. To fasten or join together. A sum of money given to a person regularly. Now, John.
Allowance.
That's right. The date on which an event took place in some previous year. Anna.
Anniversary?
Correct. To believe or come to recognize something to be valid or correct. Okay? The ones that we either did not answer or answered incorrectly, an item added to make something more useful or attractive is an accessory. Likely to attack or confront is aggressive. To gather together or acquire an increasing number of things is to accumulate. A speech delivered to an audience or a place where you live is an address. A shortened form of a word or phrase, abbreviation. To fasten or join together is to attach. And to come to recognize something as valid or correct is to accept it. We'll add in these points and come back with a final score right after this.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come. sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
The final score today is Swansboro 60, White Oak 30. Our final game today, featuring Jacksonville against Southwest, is coming up in just a moment, so please stay with us.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Welcome back to High School Academic Derby, brought to you by the Onslow County Schools. In our second match today, we will have Southwest playing Jacksonville. Let's meet the teams and their coaches. We'll start with Southwest. They are coached by Julia Pollock, and her players for round one are
Zachary, 10th grade.
Maddox, senior.
Kalijah Moore, 11th grade.
April Gower, 10th grade.
And for Jacksonville, coached by Tony Zernheld, we have
Davion Simmons, senior.
Davis Long, senior.
Owen Schnitzler, senior.
Lizzie Coleman, junior.
Your first toss-up comes from literature. Won in the past by Margaret Atwood and Salman Rushdie. It was also won by A.S. Byatt in 1990, who used her prize of £50,000 to build a swimming pool. This British award is equivalent to what prize in America given for fiction? April.
A Pulitzer Prize?
Pulitzer Prize is correct. For your bonus, answer the following questions about Hercules from Greek mythology. Number 1, this creature Hercules destroyed grew 2 heads for every one it lost. Number 2, Hercules convinced this man to stop holding up the world long enough to get him the golden apples of the Hesperides. Number 3, Hercules took this article of clothing from the queen of the Amazons. And number 4, Hercules carried this 3-headed dog from the underworld. Okay, Maddox.
For number 1, we have Hydra. For number 2, Atlas. Number 3, Cape. Number 4, Cerberus.
1, 2, and 4 correct for 6 points. Jacksonville, number 3.
We don't have any.
It's a girdle or belt. Mathematics, I'll read it twice for you because it involves a calculation. The length of a woman's foot in inches is related to her shoe size by the formula foot length equals 7 plus the quantity 1/3 times the shoe size. Calculate the shoe size of a woman whose foot is 9 2/3 inches long. The length of a woman's foot in inches is related to her shoe size by the formula foot length equals 7 plus the quantity of 1/3 times the shoe size. Calculate the shoe size of a woman whose foot is 9 2/3 inches long. And the answer is 8. Science toss-up. Its name comes from the Latin for lazy, which makes sense because so many people who don't like to move or groups that don't like to change seem to suffer from it. Name this physical concept defined by Isaac Newton when he said, an object will move at its current speed and in its current direction until some force causes it to change. Zachary.
Inertia.
That's correct. For your bonus, plans are now afoot for the European Space Agency's simulated mission to the planet Mars, where participants will spend almost 18 months in a facility near Moscow. For numbers 1, 2, and 3 of your bonuses, name any 3 of the 14 European member countries of the European Space Agency. And for your 4th bonus, what non-European English-speaking country has also been invited to nominate possible participants in the program? Maddox.
For number 1, we have France, number 2, Italy, number 3, Germany, and number 4, Great Britain.
1, 2, and 3 are correct for 6 points. Jacksonville, number 4.
For number 4, we have Canada.
Canada is correct for 2 points. This next question deals with movies. Made into a movie with Amber Tamblyn and Alexis Bledel, it tells how Lena spends a summer in Greece and Tibby meets a terminally ill girl named Bailey. Name this first of a 4-novel set about 4 teenage girls who share the same pair. Owen.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Correct. For your bonus, name these TV series that ended in the year 2009 after being on the air for at least 5 seasons. Number 1, this was Fox Network's answer to NBC's Saturday Night Live. Number 2, it ended with the wedding of fellow FBI agents Danny Taylor and Elena Delgado. Number 3, part of its final episode summary was Dr. Carter opens a new medical facility for the underprivileged in Chicago, and some old friends from County General all come to show their support. And number 4, this CBS soap opera called it quits after 58 years on the air. Owen.
For number 1, we have In Living Color. For number 3, we have Scrubs. And for number 4, we have All My Children.
None of those are correct. Southwest?
For number 1, we have Late Show, number 2, CSI Miami, and number 3, House.
Number 1 was Mad TV, number 2, Without a Trace, number 3, ER, and number 4, The Guiding Light. Mythology. He gave Artemis her hunting dogs and taught Apollo to prophesy. Name this Greek nature god who had the horns of a goat and... Owen.
Pan.
That's correct. For your bonus, name these Shakespearean plays from the following lists of some of their characters. Number 1, Fleance, son to Banquo, is one of the characters, and Lady Macduff is another. Number 2, Julius Caesar and Caesar's sister Octavia. Number 3, the title character's son, Edward, Prince of Wales, and the ghosts of all those that the title character had murdered. And number 4, the Duke of Burgundy and Edmund, the illegitimate son of Gloucester. Owen.
For number 1, we have Macbeth. For number 2, we have Antony and Cleopatra. And for number 4, we have Henry VIII.
1 and 2 are correct for 4 points. 3 or 4, Southwest.
For number 3, we have King Henry VIII.
Number 3 is Richard III, and number 4 is King Lear. Social studies. They have been reaffirmed by the Supreme Court as mandatory after a 1966 court decision overturned their namesake's conviction in Arizona. Give the term, Lizzie.
The Miranda rights?
That's correct. For your bonus, name these people who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama in the year 2009. Number 1, this late senator received the honor just weeks before his death. Number 2, she was the first female justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. Number 3, this late New York congressman played for the NFL's Buffalo Bills. Number 4, this Methodist minister co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
For number 1, we have Ted Kennedy, and for number 2, we have Sandra Day O'Connor.
Those are both correct for 4. Southwest, 3 or 4? Jack Kemp was the former quarterback, and Reverend Joseph Lowry is a Methodist minister. That's the end of our first round. We'll come back in just a moment with our scores and start round 2. After one round, our score is Southwest 16, Jacksonville 16. And we have some new players to meet from both teams. We'll start with those from Southwest.
McKenna Starling, sophomore.
Morgan Starling, senior. Jasmine Johnson, senior.
From Jacksonville, we have
Monty Arcott, sophomore.
Julia Nazat, sophomore.
First toss-up deals with government. In Florida, people in this office can certify the contents of a safe deposit box and even perform weddings, though mostly they just administer oaths to help prevent fraud when dealing with financial and legal documents. Name this office, appointed by the governor of each state, whose basic rules in Illinois include don't lend your legal stamp to anyone, even your employer. Owen.
Notaries?
Notaries is correct, or notary public, yes. For your bonus, name the home states of each of the following U.S. senators. Number 1, Republican John McCain. Number 2, Democrat Elizabeth Warren. Number 3, Republican Tom Tillis. Number 4, Democrat Harry Reid. Owen.
For number 1, we have Arizona. For number 2, we have Texas. For number 3, we have North Carolina. And for number 4, we have Maryland.
1 and 3 are correct for 4 points. Southwest, 2 or 4.
We don't have anything.
Number 2 is Massachusetts for Elizabeth Warren, and Harry Reid is from Nevada. Science toss-up. Graphite is one example. Gold and silver are also good examples, but are very expensive. Thus, copper and aluminum, which are not quite as good, are often used in electrical circuits. Give the term for a material that allows good flow of electrical current. Kalijah.
A metal?
Incorrect. Jacksonville. Lizzie.
A conductor.
A conductor is what we're looking for. For your bonus, the year 2011 was the International Year of Chemistry as per the United Nations. The United Nations combined, for your first toss-up, the United Nations combined the celebration with this organization whose standards determine the naming of organic compounds. You may give either its whole name or its 5-letter acronym. Number 2, The UN picked the year 2011 for this celebration because that marked the 100 years since this woman, born in Poland, won her second Nobel Prize. And for numbers 3 and 4, she won the second prize specifically for isolating these 2 radioactive elements. Name the 2 elements. Owen.
For number 2, we have Marie Curie, and for numbers 3 and 4, we have polonium and radium.
Those are all correct for 6 points. For number 1, do you have an answer, Southwest?
We don't have anything.
It's the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Math calculation coming up, so I'll read it twice for you. In the spring of 2009, the total number of reported swine flu cases in the U.S. was doubling every 2 weeks. If the country reported 5,000 total cases on May 14th, how many total cases had been reported by June 25th? In the spring of 2009, the total number of reported swine flu cases in the U.S. was doubling every 2 weeks. If the country reported 5,000 total cases on May 14th, how many total cases had been reported by June 25th? Elijah.
40,000.
That's correct. For your bonus, a replica of the ancient Egyptian pyramid at Cheops has a square base with sides 6 meters long and a height of 4 meters. Now, using those amounts, 6 meters per side for the base and a height of 4 meters for the base, calculate the following, please. The area of the base in square meters. Number 2, the volume of the pyramid in cubic meters. Number 3, the slant height of the pyramid in meters. And number 4, the surface area of the pyramid, including the base, in square meters. Morgan.
For number 1, we have 36 square meters.
That's correct for 2 points. Jacksonville, do you have an answer for 2, 3, or 4?
No, sir.
For number 2, it's 48 cubic meters. For number 3, it's 5 meters. And number 4, 96 square meters. History toss-up. After he became the first black man ever to teach at Iowa State University, he went to Alabama and taught farmers how to rotate their crops. Name this scientist whose time teaching at the Tuskegee Institute was partly spent inventing products that could be made from pecans, sweet potatoes. Owen.
George Washington Carver.
Correct. Now for your bonus, Carter developed 11 ways to use sweet potatoes other than by just simply eating them. Name any 4 of those, please. Okay, Owen?
For number 1, we have toothpaste, and for number 2, we have fuel.
Neither of those are correct. Southwest?
For number 1, we have cleaner, and for number 2, we have fertilizer.
Nope, I don't have either of those. I have dyes, wood fillers, library paste, breakfast foods, starches, flours, molasses, vinegar, and instant coffee. Fine arts. They formed 1/3 of a 12 concerti set entitled The Contest of Harmony and Invention, but were not recorded for more than 200 years after they were written in the 1720s. They are named for spring, summer, fall, and winter. What's the name? Lizzie.
The 4 Seasons?
The 4 Seasons, yes. For your bonus, I will name a musical interval whose low end is middle C. You give the note at the other end of the interval. Number 1, minor third. Number 2, tritone. Number 3, major sixth. Number 4, minor seventh. Owen.
For number 1, we have E flat. For number 2, we have G. For number 3, we have A. And for number 4, we have C flat.
Numbers 1 and 3 are correct for 4 points. Southwest, 2 or 4.
For number 2, we have F, and for number 4, we have D.
Number 2 is either G flat or F sharp, and number 4 either B flat or A sharp. So no points for Southwest there. Social studies. It was adopted instead of the Morgenthau Plan, which would have turned Germany into an agricultural country after World War II. Identify this financial plan that restored Western Europe to health after the war and was named for the American Secretary of State. Owen.
Marshall Plan.
Marshall Plan's correct. For your bonus, answer each of the following things about the Great Society. Number 1, Great Society was the term for this 20th century president's agenda. Name him. Number 2, this one-time PBS journalist was that president's assistant. Number 3, this cabinet department was started then and is now run by Anthony Fox. Number 4, this federal program was begun to get poor high school kids into college. Owen.
For number 1, we have Reagan, and for number 4, we have FAFSA.
Neither of those is correct. Any of the 4, Southwest.
For number 1, we have Truman, and for number 4, we have we don't have anything for number 4.
Okay. Number 1 was Lyndon Johnson. Number 2, Bill Moyers. Number 3, the Department of Transportation. Number 4 is a program called Upward Bound. And that's the end of round 2. We'll come back with the scores in the lightning round in just a moment. And after 2 rounds, our score is Jacksonville 40, Southwest 20. We have one new player to introduce for Jacksonville.
Brianna Horrocks, Jr.
In our lightning round, we'll go for 20 questions or 2 minutes, whichever comes first. All of the answers in this lightning round will start either with the letter C or K. That's C or K. You're all ready? U.S. states north and south. Morgan.
Carolina.
Correct. Andy Warhol's soup cans. Lizzie.
Campbell.
Right. U.S. state that is home to Georgetown College. Okay. Charles the Great, Frankish king and Holy Roman Emperor. Lizzie.
Charlemagne.
Correct. The Tri-Cities area of Washington State lies on this river. North Carolina location where the Wright brothers made their first... Lizzie.
Kitty Hawk.
Correct. The bottom of a ship is called... sorry, too much time. Dromedary or Bactrian? Owen.
Camel.
Correct. A baby goat? Lizzie.
A kid.
Right. To make music on this instrument, you must hum into it. A deep valley with very steep sides. Morgan.
Canyon.
Right. An optical instrument that makes beautiful, colorful patterns. Owen.
Kaleidoscope.
Right. Brown seaweed that grows. Lizzie.
Kelp.
Is correct. Australian bird whose call sounds like laughing. Lizzie.
Kookaburra.
Correct. A close relative of the octopus and squid. Lizzie.
Cuttlefish.
That's right. Stage in a butterfly's life when changing from caterpillar. Morgan.
Cocoon.
Incorrect. Fruit, bird, or nickname of a native of New Zealand. Lizzie.
Kiwi.
Right. Beautiful carp or Japanese goldfish. Lizzie.
Koi.
Right. Semi-aquatic rodent from South America, also known as a nutria or river rat. Lizzie.
Capybara.
Incorrect. Horn of plenty. Owen.
Cornucopia.
Correct. All right, the ones that we either didn't answer or did not get correct. The U.S. state that's home to Georgetown College is Kentucky. The Tri-Cities area of Washington State lies on the Columbia River. The bottom of a ship is called the keel. You hum into a kazoo to make music on it. And the stage in a butterfly's life when it changes from caterpillar to butterfly is a chrysalis. And the semi-aquatic rodent is also called a coypus, C-O-Y-P-U-S. We'll add these points in and come back with our final score in just a moment.
Guess what? I have some news for you. There's free food right there, junk food. Do you see that truck? Oh, jeez. It's a 2 Michelin star chef. All for free, ladies and gentlemen. All for free.
Here we have a panzanella with summer vegetables and pesto. Enjoy. How we doing?
Fantastic. So what do you got going on underneath that plate there?
This food is really about to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Bro? Is there something wrong with this food? Where did you get it from?
From farmers markets. They put aside the ugly vegetables and the ugly fruits.
Carrot top, soft avocados. It was all food that was going to be discarded.
Even the drink you had is made from like a little bruised peach. Did it taste a little bruised?
Great. That was good.
The average person throws away 24 pounds of food a month.
That's a lot.
Isn't that a lot? Go visit SaveTheFood.com for more information. Thank you. Junk food time!
And our final score today is Jacksonville 66, Southwest 26. Academic Derby is a locally funded production of the Onslow County Schools. We'd like to thank you for watching today, and please join us next week when Dixon takes on Richlands and White Oak will play Northside.